Welcome back to another god-awful video, Taverish. This episode of For Infants will be covering the best plane ever created, the bringer of bias, the Russian Flash, the harbinger of the end times, the amazingly overpowered Po-2. This plane, when spaded, has a top speed less than 90 miles per hour, 140 kilometers per hour. This, coupled with the absolutely abysmal rip speed, structural strength, and other factors, have led to it becoming a running joke in the War Thunder community. It also led to fucking Gage in removing it from the Rusky tech tree, where it used to be unlockable. It is now only acquirable through special events, such as the recent Halloween Po-2 races and the Super Hellcat races. Also, as a side note, all of you fuckers complaining about facing aircraft that were produced way after the one you are flying, shut the fuck up. The destroyer of fascism Po-2 was produced until 1952. MiG-15s and Sabres were flying at this point. To suggest that all aircraft should be put in their respective time periods is horseshit, as the MiGs and Sabres would be getting destroyed. There is next to nothing good about the Po-2, so let me first cover the faults of Nikolai Polikarpov's glorious design. For one, the sewing machine. No, seriously, it was nicknamed that by German troops because of the noise the engine made, is incredibly slow, very fragile, as all the stellinium was being funneled to other aircraft and tanks, like the KV-1 and Yak-3P. What the OP-2 lacks in offensive armament, it does not make up in anything else. It is slow to accelerate, cannot handle damage, and cannot climb with bombs, literally, and it cannot even clear the tree lines at the end of certain runways. Another side note, between fucking 20,000 and 30,000 of these flying potatoes were produced. There are even some still in service in the land of peace and happiness, North Korea. The Po-2 is pretty much a fucking crop duster, and it amazes me that Gagin thought that it would be a good idea to introduce this plane to the Russian tech tree as a legitimate aircraft. However, there are a few traits that the harbinger of death possesses that can make it somewhat viable in the hands of an experienced pilot. The OP-2 has a decent defensive MG, but it can only be fired in about a 50-degree angle arch behind you. Fun fact, the Shkas machine gun fires the same cartridge, the 7.62 x 54 mmR, as the best gun ever made, the Sikablat ID Nahoy Mosin Nagant 9130. The maneuvering capabilities of the OP-2 will astonish you. It turns very well, but beware, you are a large target when turning. No amount of blessings from Stalin can ensure your safety when turning. You also have a decent bomb load, but it should be used cautiously. More on this later. The OP-2 is complete garbage without proper implementation, so allow me to enrich your mind with the ways of bias. First of all, you will need to set your fuse to a minimum of 2 seconds. Even with a 2-second delay, at least when flying relatively low, you run the risk of suffering module damage. On the topic of bombing, never take the 50-kilogram bombs. Only take the two 100-kilogram bombs. The 50-kilogram explosive potatoes will only serve to slow you down, and you need as much speed as you can possibly get. When bombing, you should try to stay relatively low. If you are too low, you are a very easy target for any dumb fuck in a tank who is feeling particularly rapey. However, if you go too high, you are a very slow moving and easy to hit target for some dumbass in an SPAA. I recommend flying between 700 feet, 230 meters, to 1200 feet, 365 meters. If you have someone on your tail, don't let them stay far. Get them as close as possible. By close, I mean close enough to smell the spaghetti crusted to the fuselage of the dirty fucking Brit following you. Your greatest strength against enemy pilots is your unexpected maneuverability. If they are intelligent, they will cut their throttle and pick you off from a distance, or just fucking ram you like the autist they are. Stalin would not be happy with the dishonorable enemy pilot, and he has armed you with a means to retaliate. Your Shkas machine gun is one of the best low caliber guns in the game, and can be used to great effect. Do not aim for wings with it, go for the engine. I have learned from my personal experience that, when their engine is hit, the enemy pilot will fuck off, as they would rather return to base and repair than get the kill on the Po-2, but end up crashing, because of their engine dying. The shame would be too much to bear, if you feel that you are way out of your league, which you are in almost every instance. Find the nearest tree line, and fly as low as possible to it. You should be flying low enough to hear assorted wildlife fucking in the bushes. If there are no trees on the map that you have been placed on, you are fucked. Your best bet would be to pull out a communist manifesto and pray to Lenin that the dumbass following you has the memory of a vegetable or has the coordination of an intoxicated rodent and crashes into the ground. The OP-2 is not practical in any imaginable way in the current meta, but it can also serve as a spotting plane, provided you are very lucky and no one has an SPAA on the enemy team. You can win the game for your team just from pinging retards with your MG. If you are not otherwise presented with the opportunity, always choose the air-spawn. You may rip when trying to get to a suitable altitude, but it is better than having a guaranteed death on takeoff if you are carrying too many bombs. Any maps with trees near the end of the runway will most likely result in death for you, as the glorious sewing machine has a negative climb rate with any bombs loaded. Also, Gaijin, fix your shit. The stat card lists the maximum altitude as 4,920 feet, or 1,500 meters. This is horseshit. I spent 30 fucking minutes climbing up to 10,000 feet, 3,050 meters, to prove this shit wrong. Armed with the stupid ass advice I have given you, you should now be able to fly the OP-2 to some actual effect, and best of luck if you actually take my advice to heart. Karl Marx would be proud.